All
All right, rosters.
Roster movements.
Let's get spicy.
Man, we've got a lot going on here, don't we?
Yep.
Man. Let's start. I think there's a few, but I think the most recent and also very impactful is going to be the LA Gladiators. Parting way with Jaru, Bishu, Biggoose, and Shaz. Arguably, so I'm going to say this right now.
Yep.
Is there a more franchise-defining player or group of players than Biggoose and Shaz? I think you have maybe like
probably not
Sabiobi and Pine. I think NYXL type stuff. I think they would definitely be there.
Certainly. Yeah. Jonak, yeah.
Jonak, honestly, I think to a lesser extent, like I think as Sabiobi and Pine were both, even though Jonak was a better player, I think like overall impact on like the franchise.
Sure, like
Pine,
the whole thing.
I don't think Jonak was actually as you.
Super. Since season one, always with shock.
Wouldn't put him there. I shouldn't even say this.
Carpe.
I don't want to say this. Should I say it?
Yeah, Carpe.
Early on, I'm not gonna say it. First half of season 1.
Say it. Coward.
First half of season 1. Boston Uprising.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
can't have that. That gets erased.
But so as far as like, there's nobody who has been franchise defining and has not for all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Sinatra probably would have been close.
Right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Never mind. Don't say it. Chat gets it.
Biggoose and Shaz definitely were in discussion for being like the best Western like support line. Definitely kind of the face of the Gladiators franchise, and that's what like kind of has me concerned. Is okay. I don't know who else you're going to get. I get that these were 2 probably like weak members this season. Not because of their own like shortcomings, because the league has just gotten that competitive. They've kind of been a little dated. This is it's an important move. It's a big move to what John's saying. Like, these are 2 very recognizable fan favorite faces that are now gone. On top of that, Bishu, God bless him, didn't play at all, still is kind of a fan favorite. And now you don't have either 3. What are we going to do? Where is that going to come in, if at all? I don't know.
I feel like Deepe is trying to moon it up.
I'm going to play
if you catch my drift.
I do. I just I
actually don't know what you're saying.
Just like amass the best players money can buy and go into the next season.
No.
Because they paid top dollar, right? That was an issue. And I will also say, okay, let's quantify this a little bit. I think Shaz and Biggoose, like, most definitely season 1, season 2 were a solid backline. And in season 3, you can talk about them maybe being an issue, but I don't think they're leaving the Gladiators below an Overwatch League level.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like, we're not going to upgrade past the point where these guys wouldn't have found a slot in Overwatch League, I think. Depending on if they want to get a pay cut, a heavy one.
I think there'd be limitations that would keep them out, but I think there are worlds where they don't have a spot.
Who?
Shaz and Biggoose.
Biggoose retired.
Sure.
Right.
Not that he can't come back.
What we're saying is, like, I don't feel they were necessarily only forced out by their skill level out of Overwatch, Biggoose specifically, by like, right? Like, I'm definitely like, I think it's fair to say that the backline was the one like staple, also because they didn't have any alternatives this season.
Right.
That if you want to go pound for pound, wasn't something that held them back. right? But because just like in comparison, like OG, Space, Bird Ring, Kevster, those like even Mirror, like these are names that just like are clearly better players in their respective routes than Shaz and Biggoose were. So, but still, like they had a cool vibe with them. It's weird. Like somehow we feel very endearing towards that backline. Okay, Biggoose did actually a bunch of like content. I think like we had the Los Angeles Biggie stuff. We had the Korean content. Shaz like
been pretty quiet.
Doesn't do anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's just a very private
Keeps
person,
himself.
right? But
I
still feel like there's some connection between the fan base and the backline there.
I think so.
I want to do a video about how Shaz and Biggoose became the franchise faces of the LA Gladiators on a team that should have had franchise faces differently.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Should have and still should have different. Like the only way that happens is some like key marketing steps. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. I don't know if they were assigned to 2+1s and so they had them for 3 and so that they could kind of create this, or it just happened to like sometimes in marketing it's just like you find these things as you go along, you kind of put them in your backpack or your toolkit, and then you just kind of keep pulling out that tool over and over, and eventually it just kind of creates this like snowball of it's kind of on its own now. I want to do a video on it. I just like not confident to do a solo Overwatch League video. But yeah, it's quite the enigma. It's really interesting, and I think that franchises need to kind of look at what LA Gladiators has not just done with Shaz and Biggoose, but with their players, especially in season 1 and season 2, because that's how you build a community, or not a community, a fan base. When you can't necessarily, when the game isn't doing that for you, if that makes sense. So, anyways,
yeah, but I think like if we're extrapolating from Gladiators like transfer market moves, I think they're going to get some heavy hitters in.
They should.
Yeah,
should. I don't think that you can go from losing a fine support line and kind of the face of your franchise to something worse. I think that's going to be incredibly detrimental. So, yeah, doesn't surprise me. I'm not shocked that Jaru's gone. Not really all that shocked that Bishu's gone, even though I kind of would like him to be a little bit more, or maybe kept around for content. I don't know if that's something that he's even interested in, but
I mean, he said he's interested in going into coaching or management. And like people don't know, or I guess he tweeted it, but like Bishu has been around and an esports professional for damn near a decade, right? Like
he's been at it for a while.
So that's a fine esports career to look back to. Also,
he's 26 now, eh?
Yeah, like the ability to stick around says something to me about the intangibles of him. That
we already kind of know about.
Yeah, that we know about, like, and that can also be applied in these other positions. So, yeah, I hope
he's got a future ahead of him for sure. If he wants to hang it up for good, he wants to hang up the mouse and keyboard, go for it. I think he has room elsewhere. I'm just surprised that Gladiators hasn't snatched him up. Maybe they pull a Gladiators though. Maybe they let him go to rehire him. Who knows?
He is a franchise player. You could build a franchise around like a face player. I'm not necessarily saying on the field or whatever, but as far as personality, like this is kind of the stuff that you kind of look for. And
Bishu definitely.
And a lot of people look at Bishu, I think, really endearingly, especially those more familiar with the scene. So what about Jaru? That was kind of a shorter one, right? They signed Jaru at the beginning of this season.
That was always kind of questionable in my opinion. That was very again
kind of brought
out there in scrims.
He's just wasn't brought on to play the projectile, right?
Yeah, and then didn't.
And then
no,
really
hit scan somehow.
Yeah, it was hit scan, and then What else did they do? I'm looking at the Wikipedia and I see Sideshow's name here under four former players. Yeah, I mean I don't know. It's like you got Kevster now. I don't know.
Not shocked that Jars left. Wasn't super bullish on him coming into the season.
No.
So
yeah, no,
we'll see if he lands on his feet.
I remember Deepe talked pretty highly of Jaru though. He that's the player that he like leaked on the show. Not like straight up leaked, but he teased on the show.